Hey y'all, happy Monday. Hope you all have had a good week so far. So today we are going to look at the continent of Africa itself. We're not looking at any specific part of it. We're just going to look in the continent itself and see kind of what we are dealing with here as far as just the continent itself, climate, geography, size, that kind of thing. So before we get too far, here are some things you will need, and don't worry about this blank map. I'm using the same PowerPoint for the in-person kids, and they'll be doing something with that. So you guys really all you need is your laptop, a pencil, and some paper. That's all you need. So first thing I want you to do is I want you just to think about how big a football field is, and I want you to jot down your best guess how many football fields you think you could fit into Africa. Okay, so just take a second, think about your what you think of a size of a football field, like the one here, and see and think of a number of how many you think you could fit into the continent of Africa, and just write that number somewhere on your paper. Okay, so on your laptop, I want you to do a couple things. We're gonna do four things. I want you to research the size of Africa, the size of the United States, the size of Indiana, and the size of Australia in square miles. Okay, so just Google it. Google the size of Africa in square miles, the United States in square miles, Indiana in square miles, and Australia in square miles. Okay, and then I want you to compare the four and see how many times you can fit each one of those into Africa. Okay, and I'll go through and make sure we'll go through and make sure you have the right numbers here in a second. But for now, I just want you to look up those four things: the size of Africa in square miles, the United States in square miles, Indiana in square miles, and Australia in square miles. And just write each of those numbers somewhere on your paper. Okay. So once you do that, go ahead and we'll go on. For Africa, you should have found a total land area of approximately 11,668,545 square miles. That is roughly the size of Africa in square miles. Okay. Indiana, on the other hand, has a total land area of 36,418 square miles, which means I went ahead and did the math for you that you could fit over 320 Indianas into Africa. Okay. Now, the United States. The United States has a total land area of roughly 3,797,000 square miles, which means you could fit over 3 United States into Africa with the land that it has. Okay. Australia is a little bit smaller than the United States at 2,970,000 square miles. And that means that in theory, you could fit 4 Australias into Africa with the land that it has. Okay. Just to give you guys a size idea of how big Africa is. Now, I asked you about the football question. I looked that up too. You could fit over 11 billion football fields into Africa. If you could fit over 11 billion football fields in Africa. Now, if you gave every single person on the planet right now, almost 8 billion of them, each person would get almost 2 football fields worth of land. So each person would get almost 2 football fields worth of land. That's each person on the planet, almost 8 billion people. And you would still have a little bit of land left, just to give you guys an idea of that. Okay. Now, for this one, don't worry about labeling, and this is something else someone else is gonna do. But I'm gonna actually look these up for you real quick. So we're gonna look and see how far apart each of these cities are. So we're gonna look at Cairo to Cape Town in miles. So Cairo, Cape Town. Okay. So Cairo, let's see if it'll give me a better, if I click on maps, see if it'll do it. Maybe. There we go. Yeah. You could, so the distance from Cairo to Cape Town is 6,272 miles. That is the distance from Cairo to Cape Town. Now, if you were to fly, apparently you can get a flight that would take you roughly 11 and a half, almost 12 hours. Okay. If you were, let's say, drive from Cairo to Cape Town, and you were going to drive 70 miles an hour, and you were not going to stop at any point for any reason, it would take you almost 4 complete days to drive this if you were going 70 miles an hour. Okay, just prove a point here. It'd take you almost 4 days to go from the northern part of Africa to the southern part. Now, I believe the other one was Maputo to Rabat. Maputo, Mozambique to Rabat, Morocco. Okay, so the next one is this one right here. From Rabat, Morocco up here, all the way down to Maputo, Mozambique. Okay, it is, if I look this one, it is just over 7,000 miles from Morocco up here to Mozambique down here. Okay. It would take you almost 22 hours to fly from Morocco to Mozambique. Or if you wanted to drive down there, drive 70 miles an hour again, it would take you almost 4.5 days of nonstop driving to get there. Okay. Now, Dakar to Addis Ababa. Dakar, Senegal. Addis Ababa. Okay, this one is approximately 5,100 miles. If you wanted to drive it, it would take you a 10-hour flight. And if you were to decide to drive it, like we've been talking about, it would take you 3 days exactly to go from Dakar, Senegal over here on the west coast of Africa to Addis Ababa here in Ethiopia. It would take you 3 days exactly. Okay, and the last one is Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of the Congo. So Dakar, Senegal again to Kinshasa. Okay, that is about 3,700 miles. It would take you about 2 days, give or take a few hours, to travel this distance. It is an 8.5-hour flight. And if you were to drive from there, it would take you 2 days, roughly. Okay, now, to give you guys an idea comparison, let's go to the United States. We're going to go New York City to Los Angeles, California. Okay, so from East Coast United States, West Coast United States, it is 27, almost 2,800 miles. Okay, to go from New York to Los Angeles. Okay, and it would take you about 42 hours. Or if you drove it straight through, nonstop, a day and a half. If you were going 70 miles an hour, it would take you a day and a half. Okay, now keep that in mind. That is short. And our shortest one here was 3,700 miles. This is almost 1,000 more miles than that. And that was the shortest one in Africa. And if you were to fly this from New York to LA, you're looking about a 6-hour flight. So The longest distance from coast to coast in the United States, New York to Los Angeles, is 6 hours. Is a 6 hour flight. The shortest distance that we looked up in Africa was about almost a 9 hour flight. So to give you guys an idea of how massive Africa is. So that is actually all we are going to do today. Now, you do not have to turn this question in. Hang on to your thoughts on this because we'll actually go with this tomorrow. But I want you to think about how the size of Africa, of the continent of Africa, has impacted its development, both historically, economically, socially, and scientifically. Okay, so think about that, and we will come back to this later in the week. So if you all have questions, let me know. You do not have to turn any of this in today. These are just notes and some stuff for you. But if you all have any questions, let me know. Other than that, I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.